Hello, Flosstube. My name is Elizabeth Martinez, phantastitches, and this is my Flosstube update number 293. Today is, I think it's August 5th. Let me double check real quick. Yes, today's the 5th. As you might surmise from the different background, I'm not at home this weekend. I'm at my sister Naomi's house. And I thought long and hard about, where can I film this? Because for those of you who might have been keeping up with our Three Sisters creative videos, her house is kind of in an uproar because the kitchen is being basically renovated. They had a water leak in their dishwasher that messed up one of their walls. And so they decided that as long as the insurance covered, a lot of it and everything, and then they just did a few little extra things. But so all the cabinets were taken out, and they got new. They were ordering new granite slabs for the countertops and new faucet and various things. But that meant that everything had to be taken out. And so the refrigerator is in their sort of the area between their like dining room and living room, so and their oven and their microwave are just stuffed in the living room somewhere, just so everything is in uproar. And so and the where I usually when I'm here house sitting for her and taking care of her cats and stuff, where I usually have filmed my update when I'm here is at her kitchen dining room table with it has the window to their backyard, and I have filmed there in the past, but I can't because it's full of stuff from their kitchen. And then I've also filmed I think once in their living room. And I thought about that, but it's just the lighting isn't good in there for making a video. So anyway, so I'm here in her daughter's room, and this is her. She has one of those craft box things that opens up, and you can store all kinds of stuff in there. And so she has it closed up to have room in here for. She's gone to Taos to get her daughter Hannah, and this is Hannah's room. And so, when I was talking to my sister Eve, we were running some errands today, and I said, I haven't decided where I'm going to film my update from. And she said, well, why not do it in Hannah's room when, in front of the box and stuff. And so here I am. The lighting in here is pretty good. You can kind of see some glare in my glasses. If I put my head up like this, you can see it right there. But I think it's going to work. I'm not going to show. I have a bunch of FFOs that I'm either have finished or am working on, and I didn't bring them because I didn't want to bring everything over here. So I just have a few things that I'm going to talk about, and then I may talk in brief about the FFOs that are still in progress, and and some that are done, whatever. So, so I was gonna call this, finishes, FFOs, and failures, but actually I'm not showing any of the FFOs. So, yeah. Anyway, so this is the channel about cross stitch, for those of you who might have been wondering, and we're gonna get into it right now. I don't know that this video is going to be very long because, like I said, I didn't bring my FFOs, but I am going to talk about them briefly. I hope briefly. So for July, I had my cross stitch camp piece, and then the 3 WIPGO calls for the month of July, because I don't do a free space, although I'm thinking about it more than I but I have so many whips, I didn't use the free space. So I had 3 whips, and because of the way I've done my board for this year especially, I have a whip and an FFO and a new start for each square. So that meant 3 whips and 3, although it involved more, FFOs and 3 new starts, one of which is my cross-stitch camp piece for July. But then, 2 others. So last week, I think I talked about the other 2 new starts I had, which were very brief. I did a little bit of Starry Night, and I did a little bit of the Raccoon. I think I showed that. I don't have it with me anyway, so. But the Raccoon is a number 4 of Cottage Garden Samplings, A Year in the Woods. So I did just the briefest start of that. I did like a little bit of the framing border that I've created because I'm doing 3 on a piece of cloth and 1 piece of cloth. So I've started the first 3. So this was number 4, the Raccoon. And I think I've stated before on here, sometimes I've called it, I thought it was the Raccoon, and sometimes I thought it was the Ferret. But the Raccoon is number 4. The Ferret is number 5, I believe. So I'll be doing that. Actually, in August, yeah. So anyway, I started Starry Night and the Raccoon, and then my cross-stitch camp piece, the whales, which I'll show in a second, and then the whips were the blue elephant that I did 6 days on that, and Hello Pumpkin, I did 6 days on that, and the other one was Pandemic, and the goal on that was 6 days also. And the last time I showed it, this is the pattern, Long Dog Samplers Pandemic. And I started here in the middle of this section here. I think this is close to the middle, and I started there. And so I haven't done these 3 big thistle things at the top here, anything above that, but I've done, like, I started here on this little figure and then went down, and so I've gotten to about here. So I think last week I had done part of this little vase thing, but I did some more here. I did these 3 animals. I completed the vase. I think last week I had completed this, whatever. But so I did this little dog thing. I think it's a dog, and the butterfly and this bird. The dog has some backstitching, a little tail curlicue thing on his rear end here, and the butterfly has some backstitching the antennas, and so I haven't done those yet. These are done in etoile, all of these. The dog and the butterfly are the same color as these deer, and then there's a crow here that's on the sort of the next section, but it was close enough that I could count it easily. And so, but I did it in a slightly different color of etoile. I think might be the same as this. Maybe it's different. I don't know. I have a whole bunch of and so there's a matching butterfly and a matching dog on this side, and then there's some other animal, not a bird, but some other animal over here, in basically the same place as this. But I didn't get to that. I was hoping maybe I could finish it on the 31st, but I finish that section on the 31st. But so since last week, like I said, I think these 3 were the only things I did in the next few days. But so that's 6 days of pandemic. And so also, did I put it here? Sorry, I'm tucking downward. Oh yeah, my cross stitch camp piece for July, I finished it like under the wire, right. Felt like Cinderella. I was gonna turn it into a pumpkin. So the goal was to finish it by the 31st. So I just squeaked in under the wire, like it was really literally like 5 minutes to midnight on the 31st. But this is Whales from Whales and Squirrels, Noah's Ark 3, Whales and Squirrels, Noah's Christmas Ark, excuse me, by Plum Street Samplers, Paulette Stewart. So she, for each, I guess each release had like, two of the animals. So there's the squirrels here and the whales, which technically would not have to be on Noah's Ark because they're sea creatures, But anyway, so this whales, the challenge was to stitch something that grows. So I did the whales, and I finished it. And it's full coverage. It's not very big, but it's full coverage. So I was, as I said, filling the bathtub, filling up the water up to here. I had done the night sky, which is this, and these little snowflakes, and the whales themselves, and there was a big old hair on there or something, a thread, sorry. But so, yeah. And I had already done, all the little features, and all I had to do was go, back and forth and fill in this, it's a Weeks Dye Works color, I think, called Dove. And all of these are Fancy Floss colors. Yeah. So, it's kind of more stitching than you would think, just because it's full coverage like that. But and this was 2/2 on this. This is the same fabric I used for the June that itty bitty kitty and the baby robin. It's a 32 count linen that I coffee dyed myself, I think. And so I had like 3 pieces of this from something else I had done, I guess. And so I did all 3 of my cross stitch camp pieces on this material, the same material. So there's whales. So I finished my July cross stitch camp piece, and I had finished the whips for my WIPGO board. But the FFOs are another issue. I had talked about, I had several smalls in there. One of the squares, I had just listed a whole bunch of smalls. And because, I had, amongst all my finished stuff, stitched things, I had a whole bunch of little random small designs. And so I had, listed all of them there. And I had talked about making needle minders out of the small pieces that I had, just because, I didn't want to make tiny pillows like my sister Naomi says, a pillow for your big toe. But in the end, I decided to make a bunch of small pillows. I did do some ornament things and whatever. So I did Elephant and Pug and Dragonfly and Ant. I talked about this before. I did them both I mounted them on a piece of foam core and then edged them with this yarn that I had at home that I have used a blue one for the Dragonfly and I can't think off the top of my head what color I used for the other one. Gold, I think, or sort of a almost yellow, very light olive green, but it looks a little yellow, I think, as I recall. I don't have it right here in front of me because it's at the house. But both of those on a little white plank. And I'll show, like I said, I'll show that next week. It'll be a little clearer. Because hopefully by then, the other things will be done. But so I had that one that actually I completed. That was one of my squares, was the Elephant and Pug. And since I had the Dragonfly Ant already done, these are Owl Forest Embroidery, the Fable series, little things that came in a kit. That came with the fabric and the Owl Forest Embroidery threads and all that. So since I had Dragonfly and Ant completed, and my FFO square, my WIPGO square was supposed to be the Elephant and Pug. I went ahead and finished both of them on this little plank thing that I had. So that one is actually completed. And then another one of my WIPGO squares for FFOing was supposed to be with a needle and thread Christmas at Winterberry cabin. And that one is, it's I think I've showed it, that it's inside out and ready to be sewn together. And I'm having my sister Eve sew all these little, do the main seams, and then I'm going to stuff them and sew the ending and all that. So I have all these things, all these little pillow things in a state of, ready to be sewn. But, so that one is not done yet because it needs to be sewn and then stuffed and all that. But that's a relatively quick process because I already know, I've already made the decisions about what to back it with and all that kind of stuff and prepare it. And so it just, needs that final step. The ones that were harder for me were all the smalls because I had to really think through how I wanted to finish them, what I wanted to do. And so two of them, I think I showed the Santa that I did on a little metal flat ornament thing that I bought at Hobby Lobby. And so I had another one for I had a nativity thing. And if I had thought, I really didn't think it through in terms of, I just glued it on this little cardboard that came with the thing. And if I had thought, if I had used my brain, I would have, gathered it the way you gather any other stuff. Like if you finish, I finished something in a hoop, some time ago for my cousin Rachel. My sister-in-law Rachel, in January, I guess, for her birthday. And it was a kit that came with it was round. It came with a hoop, to hoop finish, all that stuff. And I had done the little, you take a stitch through the edges and pull it tight, a drawstring so it's round, to pull it tight. And for this nativity thing, for some reason, I didn't do that. And so I had all these little corners, for where I had glued it to the back. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't think it through. So anyway, so when I went to put it on the disc, it had all these little corners. But I did edge it with some yarn that I had. So the yarn kind of sort of masks those little corners, and then I stuck it to the ornament. So like I said, I'll show those next week. But so I did those two other smalls, and the Santa, I had a little gap in there where I had the edging I had put around it, and it was the Santa that I said I had cut wrong. So it had this little gap, and I have a charm. And today I went to Hobby Lobby and bought some ribbons and stuff that I didn't bring them here with me because I didn't want to drag them around. But my plan is to sort of make a little tiny bow and glue it on there so that to cover that little gap. I know it's there, and probably if it was just hanging on the tree, you probably wouldn't notice it. But I noticed it, so I want to put that little, make a little ribbon bow and put it over that little gap where you can see the white edge of the material. And so I just want to cover that up. And the charm that I found actually is very appropriate because the stitch is a Santa, it's got the red hat and the white beard, and he's got a little pipe and he's smoking or whatever, but it's sort of that shape that you see a lot of times, that sort of moon shape. And the charm I found is that exact thing. A little moon-shaped Santa with the beard and the white and the red hat. It's very tiny. It's just little bitty, like this big. And it's the opposite way. He's facing this way as opposed to the stitching facing that way. But I think it's very appropriate and it'll work on there. So anyway, that's that. the Santa and the Nativity, and those two, the elephant pug and dragonfly ant, and like I said, the waiting to be stitched Winterberry cabin thing. And then another one of the small ones I had was this little rabbit that was a Hobby Lobby artiste kit. And that one I did, gather it and pull it, and so it doesn't have the pointy corners. But I did. I went ahead and edged it with this little sort of orange, kind of a cording kind of thing. But I put that on there, and I talked about that tin bunny with the wooden bunny on it that I had bought at Hobby Lobby, and so I stuck the little stitched rabbit to the wooden rabbit, and I made him a little bow on his neck. And so, like I said, that one is finished also, so I will show that. So I did the elephant pug and dragonfly ant, the Santa, the nativity, and the bunny. Those are actually done. The other smalls I had were the one little key cat from Pinker and Pumpkin quilting. Pinker and Pumpkin quilting, I think it is called. And I had a little cat, and I was gonna cut it down and make it into a needle minder, but in the end, I changed my mind and made it. It's another pillow finish. And also that little Bristol thing I got from the ad. It was a little freebie from Langyap Designs, and I think it was a giveaway thing. A little freebie from last year's Bristol. Like workshop thing they have, Bristol Camp or whatever it's called, which I did not attend, but it was there. They had them there on the checkout counter, so I had picked it up last year. So anyway, that is a little tiny thing, but it came with the fabric and the threads and all that. So I decided to make it into a little pillow, and I think. I think I'm going to edge it in something appropriate. But so there's that, and the little cat. And the It's You I Like thing. I decided, I had thought about making it into a self pillow, making it out of the fabric, that it's stitched on, and I chickened out and decided not to do that. I thought I don't have the brain and energy to think that through, and I had looked for tutorials on YouTube or something regarding making a self material pillow, and I couldn't find anything. There might have been something out there, but I couldn't find it. And so yeah, like I said, in the end, I chickened out and found some appropriate looking backing fabric and cut it out as a pillow finish. And then the last thing I think I had was Turtley Lovable, that I did want to try indeed to make it into a needle minder, and I'm not really happy with it exactly. I'm kind of happy and kind of not. I have two pieces of foam core sandwiched together, so that it's kind of thick, and I have that gap between the two pieces. And so today I went to Hobby Lobby with my sister and bought some things. I bought some skinny red ribbon for that Santa Claus that I said about the little charm, and I bought some purple. I bought some ribbon and some rickrack because I had a little spool of like this cording kind of stuff for purple cording kind of stuff for the needle minder, but in looking at the way it came out, I thought that's really not going to be thick enough. I want something wider to cover that gap between them. So I got a little bit of wider ribbon, and I got some rickrack because I wasn't sure which one I wanted to use, or if I wanted to use it, whatever. So that one is still, in progress. And I don't know, I might just on a whim take it all apart and do it over again. I don't know. But so there's that. So so if you're talking about the 31st, as all my July WIPGO things, I have, some that I finished, some that I FFO'd, and some that I failed on. But I did get started on everything, in July. I just kind of ran out of time to get them all finished. But I did finish my July cross-stitch camp piece. So anyway, so then my August stuff all started, right? The August WIPGO numbers were number 18 and number 24, and I talked about those, I think, last week. And then also the FFOs for the month of August. I need to refresh my memory here real quick. Oh yeah, Hippity Hop and Good Must I Be, those I'm going to work on. And Beneath the Bough. So those are I'm not worried about those yet. And my new starts, one of them is my cross-stitch camp piece, Christmas Moose, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And the other one is the ferret. So I'm going to start with the ferret. But like I said, the month is young. It's only the 5th, so I have some leeway. So on the 1st of August, and for a couple of days there, I just had to take a mental health break, a brain break, because I had worked so hard, especially in the last few days. I'm like, oh, it's crunch time. I got to get all these things done. And so I felt like I was stitching like crazy because I wanted to finish that whales, piece. And I wanted to do some work on pandemic because I had kind of put it off because I'd been working all this stuff. And so by the time August 1st came around, I was like, I don't want to stitch anything. I just want to stop for a second and just cool my brain down. And but then I did decide, I just was lying around doing nothing. And I said, I want to finish this Puntini piece, Superpower. And this is upside down. I turn grass into wool. What's your superpower? By Puntini. And so I had started this. This was I thought it was Mania. This is my June new start. One of my my WIPGO new starts for June, along with the cross-stitch camp piece. And I remember at the end of the month, I had just I had a few days, and I had just kept going on it. And this one hasn't been ironed, sorry. But at the beginning of August, I just wanted to finish it, and I did. Yay! And I put the little button on. There's a little button there that looks like a skein of yarn. And so does the sheep. And if you think about it, it's true. The sheep eats the grass, blah, 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 blah. You shear, it turns it into wool. It grows this wool from eating grass. And then you shear off all that wool, and you spin it into yarn. So, yeah. And so I used the green, what called for was, what did I say? Camouflage by, it says right here, Romish Creations. And that one color I could not find. I found a few Romish Creations, but not that color. So this is Weeks Dye Works Scuppernong. The little leaves up here and the grassy hill. But otherwise it's all, I think it's DMC. Yeah. It's all DMC except for that one, the green there. But so, and actually it was a really lovely stitch. It just that this green hill thing just took forever just because it's a lot of stitching. So but that was all I had left, was maybe 3 rows here left to do. So it's all done now. So yay, I have finished. I finished just because. And then, so finally, my brain seemed to calm down. And I had one of my WIPGO new starts / cross stitch camp. And the cross stitch camp challenge was do something new to you. New fabric, new designer, new threads, new whatever. And so this is Bendy Stitchy's Christmas Mousse. And like I said, I've known Bendy Stitchy. I've met her. I've done some. She's talked about several things, and she started designing. And I have a couple of her designs, but I'd never done any of them. And so Christmas Mousse, I decided to do, and because it's very small, 49 by 52. It's very small, and it's all DMC, with one DMC étoile. This lighter color on the moose's body, this brown on the moose's body, is étoile, and otherwise it's all just DMC. So I'm going to put this behind here because this is kind of shows through here. So I did I started with these white snowflakes that go on his body because I thought it makes it easier to just fill in the étoile, on the body here if these snowflakes are already done. And then I just decided to go around with this darker brown to just go ahead and do the mousse itself. And I've been working on this since I've been here. So I'm going to be here till I think she's leaving Taos Tuesday morning. So I'll be here. So I may just work on this. I brought Yay with me, the Native American sand painting design thing with me. And I may go ahead and work on that. The goal on that one is 6 days. And I have 6 days on my other WIPGO thing. So, I should be able to squeeze those in pretty easily. But this is my cross stitch camp piece, and it should be done, I don't know, pretty shortly, because all that's left is, there's some little ornament, little colored little ballies, and some more snowflake kind of things here and there. And then these are the stumps of these little trees, and I might take them out because you can kind of see here. I tried to not. I kind of carried the threads, and I didn't think it was going to be a problem because I usually go so that I don't go straight across, so the thread is not peeking out the holes or anything. But there's nothing really between where the stump is and where this leg is. The tree goes up above it, so there's nothing really to cover that, to stitch over that or So you can kind of see the thread there. So I might just snip it and stick the the loose threads on the legs, and then wait until I do the trees and then do these, because I'm not very good at pin stitches. Theoretically, I could do them. And there's some more trees over here. I'm sorry. But, so, yeah, I think you can kind of see the threads where those go. So I might just, like I said, fix it, and all that, so that they're not carried like that. And then just wait till I do the trees, and then, I can tuck the threads do the tree stumps, the tree trunks later, and do it all. So, but this is almost done. There's the toile, and then there's another I think another brown color, yeah, like a lighter color for most of the face and that sort of thing. And so it's almost done. And I may, like I said, I may be able to finish it before I leave here on Tuesday. So, yeah. Anyway, that's the Christmas Mousse by Bendy Stitchy. Christmas Mousse. So, really, that's about it. I hope when I get back home to finish FFOing those things And the FFOs, like I said, for this month, I should be able to just, sorry, clobber this thing. Should be able to just, blend those in with all the ones left over from July and get them all done at once. It just means a lot of stuffing and a lot of, sewing the seams together. And then, like I said, I want to look into trims and stuff. The Christmas at Winterberry Cabin, on the picture they have of the finished thing, and I'm sorry, but with thy needle and thread, I think they need to get better pictures. And Chessie and me, I think they need to get better pictures too. But with thy needle and thread, the Christmas at Winterberry Cabin, it's like I think I said this last week, that it's very prim colored, prim colors in the stitching, and I have it on a fabric that's very similar to this. It's kind of a it's coffee dyed or tea dyed or whatever fabric, and so so I was able to match the color string bean to make it a pillow. It's a Lady Dot Creates velveteen called string bean, but the trim, I want to do the trim around it, and I have I think I showed it last week, some ribbon that has like green Christmas trees on it, and it's kind of a beige color, and I think it would work around the pillow, but I don't know that it's long enough. And I'm not sure if I would sew it on or glue it on. I kind of don't like to glue things on because it's hard for me to do a nice like straight line because of the way because of the stroke that I had. It makes it hard for me to do a straight line with this hand because this is my stroke hand, so it's a little bit weaker and a little bit more unsteady. And of course I can't do it with my left hand because I'm not left-handed, and so that's one reason why I have not used hot glue for certain things, because if I were to try to make a straight line, it goes like, because you're having to squeeze the hot glue gun and then make a straight line at the same time, and that's kind of a weakness for my right hand. So it has a tendency to go to wobble around, and so something like doing a seam, where you have to have a really straight line like that is hard for me to do. And so for the seam of a pillow, what I've done before is you either use chenille, like Lady Dot Creates chenille, and just, because you can sew that on there and hide the thread, or I've done like yarn. I have yarn finishes that I've used. So like on that nativity little ornament that I had, the yarn actually was really good because it's not thick, but it's not like straight thin yarn. It has a little bit of texture to it, kind of like a rough yarn you would feel. It's not a round smooth yarn, but it has a little bit of roughness to it. So it hides those little weird little pointy corner things that I made on the stitching. It hides it a little bit, smooths it out a little bit. But I have several colors of shades of green, kind of. And so I'm hoping that something on there would be appropriate. But also when I was at Hobby Lobby and I was picking up, ribbons and stuff for other things, I found one red that I was thinking, because I didn't have the piece with me to sort of, hold it up against the things to say, this would work. I didn't have it with me. um, or anything. So, but just like, in my mind's eye, the way I remember it, I thought that this red ribbon that I found might work. I think I said before that the thing about the green, the Christmas tree with the beige, ribbon that I have, I don't know if it's long enough because it was on this random spool that doesn't say on there how much. Excuse me, I've got a little itchy thing right here. It doesn't say how long it is. So by my sort of, measuring it with my measuring tape and measuring the circumference of the pillow, it might work. But I don't know how it would look against it. So once it's sewn and stuffed, then I can decide, if I want to use one of the yarns that I have, or if I want to use one of the ribbons that I have, or whatever. In the picture that of the finished sort of model that they have, they used like those rusty jingle bells, around it. Several of them. I don't know how many, 9 or something like that. I don't know how many, but I kind of don't want to do that. I don't think. So I want to find some other appropriate, edging around there to do. And for the little pillows, kind of the same idea. I want to just find either one of the yarns that I have to finish them with, or something else to see if I've got a ribbon or something that's appropriate. I don't know yet. So that may still be a few days in the offing. But like I said, the month is young, you know. So I think next week then I should be back in my normal environment, and hopefully I will have done more to finish those FFOs, at least for July, if not the ones for August yet. But anyway, so yeah. So I will see you then next Saturday, and hopefully I'll have all my FFOs to show you for the month that were done for the month of July. And maybe, probably not for the ones for August yet. But anyway, so that's all I have. And I will see you next week. And until then, happy stitching, and thanks for watching. Thanks. Bye.